Welcome back to Leveraging Leadership, where we unpack the art of business leadership. I'm your host, Emily Sander, Chief of Staff turned Executive Leadership Coach. This show is all about finding your points of greatest influence and leveraging them to better serve those around you. All right, in this episode, I'm going to go over 3 different ways you can think about how to utilize your Chief of Staff. So let's say you've brought on a Chief of Staff or you're in that process of interviewing and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I best position this? What are some questions or frameworks to really understand how to maximize that role for you and your company right now? First question is, what do I need as a principal right now? What do I need as a principal from a Chief of Staff right now? And there's so many factors that go into this. A quick example might be, I need to lift out of the day-to-day. I cannot be this involved at this level anymore. Right now, at this phase of the company, I need to be fundraising. I need to be paying attention to key strategic initiatives for like 80% of my time. I can't be sucked into all of this minutia. All of this stuff is important, but I can't be there right now. So what I need from a Chief of Staff most right now is to help me lift out of that. And in that, there can be several facets. One is remind me and keep me accountable when I try to go back in, remind me that I need to stay up here. Another part of that would be to set up the processes and to bring the right people in, or to move internal people into new positions within the company to get that thing to run on its own day to day, get it to run well with high quality and efficiently, but get it to run without my direct involvement. So that could be an example. A second question you could ask would be, what does my team need right now? What does my executive team or leadership team need from a Chief of Staff right now? And that could be something like, all right, that could be functional, right? It could be, look, we have depth in all other areas besides marketing. So we need someone to come in here with an actual marketing background and marketing chops, or at least know enough to be dangerous and get this thing stood up off the ground. That could be like a functional thing you need right now. It could be something like, look, I have a great executive team. Everyone's been here from the start and everyone knows the company and the customers and the internal processes and products, et cetera, but we just brought on private equity investors. And this is everyone's first rodeo going through that. So we want a Chief of Staff who has been part of a PE investment and who knows how to do this and knows what needs to change, who knows what needs to stay the same, and all of the rest to kind of guide us through that process at that level. So that might be what the team needs from a Chief of Staff right now. It could be something like, look, overall the team is fine, but we have these 2 executives who just clunk heads and they can't be in a meeting together without going at it. And I know myself as a CEO, I'm not the one to step in there. I don't have kind of the right tools and kind of the right inclination to go in there and sort this thing out, but it needs to be done. And so, look, I need a Chief of Staff who is going to be able to mediate these discussions, to facilitate these discussions, and also to evaluate these players. New Chief of Staff, you come in here, you assess the team, you get a handle on everything, and then you and I, let's have some really candid conversations about what's working on this team and what's not, and if people are going to be able to get there and get to where we all get along and where we all work together, or if some people are willing to play ball and some people aren't. And I need that candid feedback because I'm almost too close to it, or I'm just not that type of person to be able to assess things or facilitate things or break things open at that level. So you might bring in a Chief of Staff for something like that because that's what the team desperately needs right now. We can't keep doing this. Okay, third question here would be, what does the company need right now? What does the company need from a Chief of Staff right now? You could even say, it could be something immediate and acute right now, or more so, it could be, what does the company need in 12 to 18 months? If you zoom out and you take a minute and you kind of lift your head up, see the forest for the trees, and say, what do we really need, or what do we want in the next 12 to 18 months? And that can be both, what gaps do we have? If you have a glaring deficiency, okay, who can help us plug that hole? Or it can be, who could game change this thing? Who could accelerate this thing? Who could be a unique talent and a vital asset to this team? Or if you're sitting there going, Emily, if we could bring someone like this on the team, that would get us there. That would level us up. That would accelerate our growth. That would just bring the team together and bring the company together as a whole. That's what we need. So you're looking at these 3 different lenses or perspectives or angles, and you're bringing those answers that you've come up with all together and saying, okay, this is probably how I could maximize the chief of staff role. Okay, so if you're thinking about your ideal chief of staff candidate, or maybe you have one and you're like, okay, what types of initiatives should I give them? What types of things should I give them ownership over? Well, then ask yourself those 3 questions. Even if you have 1 out of 3, that might be a good idea. If you have 2 out of 3, amazing. If you have 3 out of 3, that's the golden path. You should absolutely consider those. So it could be, all right, what type of person and what type of interaction would complement me as a principal? What do I need right now from a chief of staff? What would complement our executive team well or our leadership team? And what do we need overall as a company? If you have a chief of staff who can bring skills and bring ideas and bring consensus and bring just positive energy to any and all of those things, then that's probably where you should be using your chief of staff. Okay, so ask yourself those 3 questions and hopefully it'll prompt you for some good ideas. If you're sitting there going like, Emily, I need some actual examples, then I will say, I need some actual context and an actual scenario that you're in to give you some specific examples or specific recommendations. I would be happy to do so. And if you want to chat with me about that, then just find me on LinkedIn, shoot me an email, emily@nextlevel.coach, or feel free to jump on a free 30-minute clarity call in the show notes below. But happy to help, but hopefully those 3 questions and those 3 prompts will get you started.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.